Well, hello, all Canadians, First Peoples, friends, followers. This video has to get out. I just finished watching 6:30 Chad's presentation of Danielle Smith and one Tyler Shandro's address on the new Bill 1 Sovereignty Act. Sovereignty Act for the province of Alberta, for the power of the cabinet, meaning the appointed ministers of any premier of Alberta, to decide what will be addressed in a breach of federalism in Canada for the provinces. And now, folks, Daniel Smith and Tyler Shandro say a lot and leave out a tremendous amount. What do they leave out? All of you, the Canadian people, all Albertans, and of course, all the First Peoples. This is Treaty 4, 6, 7, 8, and 10. 4 and 10's overlaps into the province of Alberta. Leave everybody out. Subjects and savages, people. That is the legal speak and definition of what all Canadian citizens should be. Citizens are not citizens, subjects. It's clearly in your Constitution. Now, I've said it. Daniel Smith and Tyler Shandro clearly say, we like that, without ever saying the words, just like every other politician. They say, listen, we're not going to press the crown of federal Ottawa. We're going to decide in our crown cabinet what we'll fight and what we won't fight. In fact, we're going to change laws without any say or democracy from the people at all. Who are the people? Again, it's the subjects, the Alberta citizens, and all those in Treaty 4, 6, 7, 8, and 10. You will have no say, like you've never had anyway. You can elect somebody every 4 years if you participate. That's it. But I want to make this message very clear. I've tagged all the media. I heard all the questions, all the concerns, and here's the problem with absolutely everything Daniel Smith and Tyler Shandro roll out on Bill 1, the Sovereignty Act. Number one, Canadians and First Peoples. It's very simple. Our federal constitution, the Constitutional Act of Canada, in its initial 1867 right, has a section 58. What's 58? In section 58 of 1867, now, when I say that, that means that portion of the Canadian Constitution has remained from 1867, and every single amendment, including the Alberta and Saskatchewan Amendment of 1905, two separate amendments, the creation of Alberta, creation of Saskatchewan, the addition of land, territorial repositioning for the province of Ontario and Quebec, folks, redistributing the size of Manitoba, little postage stamp onward, all through all those amendments. Everything placed in those amendments, all repeals done, but that Section 58 remains. What does Section 58, through all amendments, all the way up to 1982 and even two recent provincial edition amendments, what does it say in 1958? Provincial constitutions. Any Canadian subject or any first person, the defined savages under the Indian Act, not Indigenous, not Aboriginal, none of those names. Any of you can Google right now, 1867, right on the Government of Canada's website, Lewis and Holmes, presented to all of you by Chief Justice Wagner, highest justice in Canada, and all of those from Lewis and Holmes legal department and many scholars around Canada who've consolidated all the amendments and everything that remains. It's still there. It's never changed. It tells you provincial constitutions. Use your lieutenant governor, premier, and the crown lieutenant governor for provincial constitutions. Well, what would be in the provincial constitutions? Well, again, since 1867, never amended, never repealed, never removed, is a consolidated all the way up to our last amendment, so it's still there, lists Section 92 all the way through all the way to 144. 144. Mass amounts of powers. 92 lists a boat ton for all the subjects, and the savage is defined, again, by the same constitution, never amended, and the laws therein, as they created Canada, never amended, still the same. You're still subjects and savages, but they gave you this window in your regions, your provinces and territories, and exactly how to do that. That is Section 92 to 144. These are the original and still enshrined laws of 1867, the highest laws of Canada. They're forever and a day. Your property rights, your water rights, civil rights, your human rights, where we don't get any real human rights. You get Canada's narrative, but nothing constitutionally binding. They often terrorize citizens, would-be citizens, but are in fact subjects and savages, like other rotten countries do around the world. Canada is no exception. They do it. They still do it today. But we take those powers. How do you do it? Well, glad we're going to go through that. In 1982, there is Section 44, which amended the Canadian Constitution and said legislatures, meaning the MLAs of the provinces or territories, can in fact override lieutenant governor and administer provincial constitutions enshrining all those rights. You could have a constitutional convention, and for the first time in Canadian history, since it was given to us in the design of 1867, you can constitutionally craft and develop what the rules of governance, how to govern, and absolutely accountability in all the lands, provincially at least, which is the bulk majority. Doesn't address federal, but it's a massive, massive start, considering half of the country is in the possession of all 8 premiers of the provinces and the 3 of the territories. It's in their hands alone and their parties. They control it absolutely. They have a crown lieutenant governor, or for the territories, they have the 3 commissioners who control all that against all of you. They deal with Ottawa. That's why Ottawa encroaches. Now, I want to myth bust for all media, absolutely all media, all Canadians. I'm so confident in this. I'm tagged all the media. Myth bust. I'm going to say this, and I want everybody to understand, and this needs to be shared out. Until a province or territory in Canada enshrines the highest law of their land, as I just told you, Section 58, 92 to 144, those rights in the highest law of a province or territory, all bets are off. The federal government can encroach, take, mandate, legislate all they want to, taking those rights away or enshrining them the way they want to, which they have, because not one premier of any province or territory ever wants to let their pure autocratic, dictatorial power go, because there's no highest law of the land to regulate them. There's never been any provincial constitutions or territorial constitutions regulating how political parties govern in a province. They make it up as they go. They can lie, cheat, steal, do whatever they want. And they do it with the federal government, who says, yes, do all that. We'll split the take 50-50. We'll craft things that work for us and our interest groups, and we'll manipulate, mislead, and terrorize the subjects and the savages as we've legally defined them. They have laws defining you all that way. They even put the subjects in the Constitution right from the start, because it was British Empire, the age of empires where there were no citizens, except in the United States of America and maybe a couple other countries, but for the large bulk of the world at that time, subjects or savages. That was the world. In fact, until the League of Nations, there were no human rights. You can go across all history, there were never any. No civil rights, no human rights, because you weren't people, you were subjects. You weren't citizens, you were subjects. People need to understand this stuff. This is real, credible, verifiable, clearly in history, and there isn't a lawyer, a justice, a supreme justice, or any other appointed crown in Canada who can dispute what I've just said to you. There isn't one. There is not a one. Now we're going to go on to a little more. I want to get into the last portion. Is Section 44 of 1982 an amendment that tells you the legislatures, but there's more. When you take a province, any of the 8 provinces or 3 territories, there is already an executive constitution of the provinces and of the territories. Only Quebec and Ontario have a different term for it. I put it in the Constitutional Conventions Act. Now, these came with the codification of the amendment to bring said provinces into Canada under the Constitutional Act of Canada. They were an amendment. 1905, Alberta come in. Oh, by the way, here's your constitution for the province. It's held in by the lieutenant governor, and it's the executive constitution that tells you how that crown has all the power and that none of the subjects or savages have any. And that's been the way it was until 1982. Section 44 says the legislature can actually write a constitution, do all that, and if the lieutenant governor refuses on the legal positions of 92 to 144, meaning you can't do anything else other, and follow Section 44, the legislature can take that away. They can repeal the power of the lieutenant governor to override, because it was a power in 1867, a check and balance of the British Empire's royal family for all First Peoples and all Canadian subjects, that if your government was acting mischievously or was putting through laws you didn't like, you could go through that lieutenant governor who was a UK royal family member. They had a divine title, Duke, Duchess, Baron. You can look at Canadian history. Every Governor General of Canada, every Lieutenant Governor of the provinces, and every Commissioner of the territories that existed pre-1952 were all royal family, royal title holders. That's how the British Empire worked. That's how they designed Canada. That's our only check and balance against the government. Here's the kicker. In 1952, King George VI died. He died while he was fixing Canada, removing the crown. He had removed all the royal family out, said it's Canada's now, and Canada was to do constitutional conventions. We're a federalism. The provinces had the power absolutely since 1952, all territories, to enshrine these most precious fundamental rights: water, property, civil rights. We don't even have civics because we have no civil rights. We have no rules of governance, no how to govern, or any accountability, because the check and balance were rather perverted with the royal family, but it was a check and balance on the government of Canada and the provinces at the federal and provincial level. But now it belongs solely to those you elect, your dictator you elect. You get democracy, I guess. Pick your unaccountable, no rules of governance or any kind of how to govern roadmap, and they can make any laws they want and do anything in those powers, 92 to 144, no strings attached, and there's nothing you can do. The only string is the federal government and how much they can get or what deals they can make with each other, lie to you, cheat, steal, brutalize, genocide, rape, kill you. And they have all kinds of groups. Happens over and over and over again. We just watched a pandemic. Canada got road rashed over it. Civil rights. Where do you find civil rights? Section 92, powers of the province, to be codified as per Section 58, 1867. This has been here since Canada's inception, but these greedy, thieving, lying cheats, these crown power politicians, hold it for themselves and keep it from all of you. They have a tremendous amount of Canada that belongs to them. They literally piss and shit in your water. If anyone's not watching Hamilton right now, piss and shit in your water. St. Lawrence River, piss and shit in your water. You ever check out the Great Lakes? Water rights. How many First Peoples have no clean drinking water? Bottled jugs, not enough. Things don't work. They don't care because it was a power of the provinces and a power of the territories. See the problem here? Federal government can tell you whatever wishy-wash they want to, and the provinces sit there. We're just waiting for these people to die. That's what we're waiting for. Or we replace them, like we always have since 1867. And now it's you, the subjects, that need to be replaced. You've got to take major cuts. They've got to take more wealth from you. They got 50%. They want 75 by 2030. That's just your crown politicians and everyone lined with them. Reality, truth, not fiction. You can look all over the Commonwealth, all over the kingdoms of the world, and they are all behaving exactly the same in the same manner. All other countries are not, and it shows. You all have the same systemic problems. All of you. Out of control housing costs, out of control energy costs, food insecurity, goes on and on and on. This has always been problematic for all monarchies. We can go through history, famine after famine, until literally people had to kill their divine leaders. I'm not trying to be radical. I'm just telling you the real history. These people don't give two shits about savages or subjects. Read your Constitution. Consolidated, Lewis and Holmes, the government has to share with you. You can look it all up. It's from 1867, updated with every amendment, all the way through to 1982, and even the upgrades of the provinces. It's all there for you. Everything you read from start to finish is what is the highest laws of the land today. The answers are there. It's not to be the executive constitution of the divine politicians under crown. It's supposed to be a provincial constitution for and by all the peoples. Why do the politicians need to have nearly 90% of Canada in their holdings with their foreign friends, and you all get the bills? Why are you compressed in some areas of Canada, largest provinces? Why are you compressed in a very, very small area, paying astronomical sums of money? It's called we're raping, stealing, and murdering you. Literally. Literally. There is no other way to explain it. And they do this over and over. They lie, cheat, and steal. This is very easy. There isn't a lawyer again, a justice, a supreme justice or a superior justice, or any crown appointed, all of them, that can dispute what I've just shared with you. I've articulated it clearly. And for one more time, I'm going to say it because it's so very easy. 1867, still in play today, never repealed, never ended, always been there. Section 58, provincial constitutions. They go through lieutenant governor on that. Then we go over to what are the powers of the provincial constitutions, starts in section 92, province, continues all the way through to 180 or 144. But how do we go about doing that? You have to go to 1982 and you find that the legislatures do it for and by the people by repealing what? The Executive Constitutional Act of said province. For Alberta, that's the 1905. The amendment allowing Canada in came with the Executive Constitution. Not written by the people, not written by the legislatures or a premier. None of the First Peoples, by the Crown, an old Crown that no longer exists anymore. It's been assumed by the federal government, shared with the premiers. And when they fight, what Daniel Smith's proposing, we don't want the subjects or savages to have anything. We want all the power. We know about Section 44, and we don't want a constitution. We just want to decide what things we can use to fight with you to get more power for us, but don't take away our autocratic power. That's what Daniel Smith and Tyler Shandro were sharing today. A punch in every Albertan's face, because let's face it, Liberals, Conservatives, NDP, Green, we can go on and on. All those who've ever held power know exactly what they're getting into. They laugh, they lie, they cheat, they steal, they molest and rape you, genocide you. Again, we can go through examples just today. Ontario, the parks and wetland green spaces, that's government property paid for by taxpayers, is what the government wants to issue for housing. What's wrong with the Crown lands? Oh, we can't open up Section 58 because it belongs in the province. We can't open that up. There could be a provincial constitution. Could be power to the people. We don't want that. Power to us. My wallet's not thick enough. I don't have $200 million in my bank account. Doug Ford, an idiot, but yet he's wealthy as hell. Jason Kenney, a high school graduate, wealthy as hell. Daniel Smith's going to be wealthy as hell. They all become wealthy as hell. Somehow, they're all the worst financial investors for a province or a federal government ever seen. Every time they double down, they're the worst. They're the worst with your money. Always. Wasteful. Unaccountable. Where'd the money go? Overseas, over here, in this company, in this civil society, this nonprofit. Their friends get wealthy. They scratch their back. They get wealthy. You find out they got all these business inside tips. Somehow they're the best personal investors. Every single one of them, even though none of them have a background in it, they make the New York Stock Exchange look like a joke. They make Toronto Stock Exchange look like a joke. Because all of a sudden, our politicians are the single individual greatest investors ever seen. North America, hey, if they could hire them, they would, but they're that way because they're cheating, lying, and stealing from you. They have full autocratic authority to commit serious crimes, and they do. They're not crimes for them, crimes for you. Rules for thee, not for me. Rules for thee, not for me. The Crown has to go. It's always been problematic corruption. Misleading, lying, cheating. There's never been a charter ever put on any Crown subjects ever or ever held to account. Who makes the king accountable? The answer's nobody. Same with Canada. Who makes the Prime Minister accountable? The Governor General? Who has the military, the police, the justice system. But the Governor General is appointed and sworn to the Prime Minister. You can read that in your Constitution too. As the Governor General appointed all the Lieutenant Governors of every province and territory. They're all sworn to the Governor General, who's sworn to the Prime Minister. Prime Minister and Premier share Premiers have zero accountability, none whatsoever. There's no codified rules of governance, just Lieutenant Governor. The Prime Minister's check and balance against the premiers. Bill 1, power of the politicians again. We're going to fight you for our rights, our power, our wealth, our land that we rip from the subjects and absolutely the savages forever and a day. This is Canada, federally, provincially. It's a game they've been playing since 1867. It's all highlighted here. It's in my Alberta Constitutional Conventions Act. I released it. Of course, Daniel Smith doesn't want it. Of course, Tyler Shandro doesn't want it. Because why? Well, that would give the power to the people. We don't want that. Oh, we don't. They're all rotten. Rotten to the core. This can't be myth busted. It can't be disputed. You can't find a lawyer, a justice, a Superior Court justice, a Supreme Court justice, or any Crown appointment in Canada to dispute what I've said. You can't find one. Not a single one. Truth, published, found, polled, articulated for all of you, can fix every province and territory in Canada, empowering all the peoples. You can do it. I'm going to show you the federal platform, that power of Prime Minister. That's the Canadian Party of the Canadian Constitutionalists. That's what we're doing. That's why we're going for the federal crown. You get Governor General, you get all the Lieutenant Governors. You can arm bar all the legislatures and the federal government until the MPs and MLAs give you all constitutional conventions. That's the truth, folks. That's the truth. Power to the people, all the people, the First Peoples and Canadians. 50-50. That's what we're doing. This video is one of a kind, but it's also real, credible, verifiable, and again, cannot be myth busted, cannot be disputed. There's nobody in the world of academia or anybody with a bar in Canada that can dispute this, because it's, again, real, credible, verifiable, and it's found right on the government's website. This is the Rules and Laws of Canada, 1867 and 1982, plus all 13 amendments, including the provinces and territories. Thanks. That's my video. Good night, folks. 10 o'clock. Long day ahead of me. Bye now. Get it out there. Share.